Welcome to another edition of the Gold Nose Podcast. I am your host, Gregory McCoy. This podcast is by a fan for fans. I am not a journalist. I am not a reporter. I am not an insider. I do not work for a website. The majority of my content comes from me and my opinion. Other information comes from the internet. Tremendous win. We can focus on the negatives. We can focus on some bad coaching decisions by Mike Norvell. But when was the last time that you could say Florida State started the season 2-0? When was the last time you could say Florida State beat a SEC team? When was the last time that you can say that Florida State came up clutch in big-time situations? It's been a minute, man. So, in any game, it's going to be ups and downs. In any game, it's going to be adversity. And this team overcame adversity. The offensive line played well. The defensive line played well. Mike Norvell had these guys ready to play. This is like several hours after the game. It was for the most part, man. This looked like a Florida State team from years past. For most of this game, Jordan Travis played really well. Like I said, I didn't expect. First of all, no excuses, LSU fans. You guys have finished top 5 or better in recruiting for the last 3 years. So there's talent on this team. So I'm not going to sit here and accept that, hey, we didn't have some of our best guys. You literally probably had 75, 80 players, okay, that are at least 4 stars or better on that team. So I'm not trying to hear that. I told you last week that special teams was probably going to be the difference in this game. And I think for the most part, I was right. Missed field goals, kickoffs out of bounds, block kicks. I said that. So give me some credit. Now I know what I'm talking about sometimes. Okay. And again, I would put Micah Pittman on kickoffs. Okay. Sam McCall is not a good kickoff returner. I think you leaving a lot of real estate on the field by not moving Pittman to kickoff return. I think Pokey Wilson has established himself as the number 1 receiver on this team. I don't think it's after that performance last night against those DBs. He's clearly the number 1 receiver. Okay, and then everybody else got to fall in line. Cam McDonald, a guy who I've been begging to get more opportunities. He dropped a touchdown. So Cam McDonald, I don't know what else to do for you, man. You had your opportunities. The other tight end, number 85, Marquiston, I forget his last name. He's pretty good as a blocker. I see why he's getting a lot of the reps at tight end. He's a tremendous lead blocker. So I would keep rolling with him, man. He's the hot hand. Offensive line played really well. A couple of guys did a couple of Olay blocks that I wasn't too happy with. But for the most part, they played pretty well. Defensive line versus just, he's on another level. Lovett, Cooper, those guys played really well. They really established themselves on the inside. You let Jaden Daniels just run wild. I never really saw him as a scrambler, but I told you last week that he could do that he probably would have to do that. if this defense was as advertised. And they played a pretty good game until the fourth quarter. The wheels just fell off in the fourth quarter, man. I mean, we almost gave that game away. But I'm happy. It's a lot of criticism to go around. I'll get into that on Wednesday's podcast when that drops. I'll get into that. But, for the most part, it was a tremendous game. It just feels good to be 2-0. I mean, obviously, they put a lot of energy and effort into this game. You on a short week. You got Louisville. Malik Cunningham is an elite scrambling quarterback in this conference. And, you just can't. He's licking his chops seeing this Jaden Daniels film. So I just feel like, this is where coaches make their money. How can you refocus on a short week and get ready for Louisville? If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if they have a bye week. I'll have to look at the schedule, but I think they play Louisville this Saturday. I'm thinking. So, and just going into some of these social media Florida State fan pages and just hearing the fan base, you guys just take the win, man, and be happy. Just take the win and be happy. No game is ever going to be perfect. Just take the win as you can get it. I mean, if we would have lost that game, I would have been on here screaming. I would have been upset. But we won. And I will be the first one to admit, Mike Norvell, first of all, Mike Norvell, you got to take the points. Like I said, I'll get into that on Wednesday's podcast. I drop my podcast every Wednesday at midnight. So I'll get into that then, but just a great win, man. It feels good. It feels very good, man. I was just like, when they scored that touchdown for it to be 23-24, I was just like, oh, man, here we go. Then they just came up big. And usually in games like this, special teams is the difference. I mean, if LSU would have had a better quarterback, they probably would have won the game. I expected them to run the football a lot more, especially with that being Brian Kelly's MO, is running the football. And, for whatever reason, he didn't come out and do that. And they've got a big offensive line. So, and even with them losing some of their best players on defense, they still have talent. Even with them losing players to the NFL, they still have talent. Like I said, the last 3 years, they finished top 5 in recruiting. So it's tons of talent on that team. So I'm not trying to hear any excuses. The better team won. The better team made plays. And that's really it. And just, again, fans, be thankful. Wins like this don't come easy. Okay? Mike Norvell is still a young coach in this game. Okay? And yes, he hasn't been in big time situations, but Bobby Bowden had to go through this, man. Bobby Bowden didn't just come to Florida State and start winning national championships. It took him a long time to build this thing up. And that's who you like to compare Mike Norvell to. And I'm the biggest Mike Norvell critic. Okay? I got episodes that are entitled No Norvell, Please. So I'm a critic of his. And he has made bad decisions in games, but he won the game. He put his team in a position to win the game. Get a man credit where credit is due, and that's it. It's a lot of room for growth. I think you still need to make some personnel moves. Like I said, I would like to see Michael Pittman more in a Deebo Samuel type role. Pokey Wilson is the number one receiver. Number 85, the tight end, is clearly the number one tight end. Treshaun Ward showed me a lot today. But the fumble was, I'm still trying to figure out how when the punt returner for LSU muffed the ball and we scoop and score, how that wasn't a touchdown. I'm still trying to figure that out. But like I said, I'm not going to break down the whole game just yet. I'm going to rewatch it Monday and Tuesday. And then when I drop my show on Wednesday, I have a full analysis of the game. But, a lot of emotion right now, man. Just a lot of emotion. A lot of just, this is my team. And we got a big win. We're 2-0, man. And we might possibly get back into the top 25 for the first time in forever. This is big. So enjoy the win. Quit complaining. And, hopefully we don't have a letdown against Louisville, man. Podcasts available on YouTube. Podcasts available on all podcast platforms. Thank you for listening. As always, go Noles.